The ending of the show is going to hit like crack. That was a tweet. I guess now it was something that's put in X from BWE that when we took a look at it, we were like, whoa, what's gonna happen? I don't know if it felt quite like that, but it felt a little bit like being on the edge of our seat. And that's how I think the takeaway is going to be when we talk about tonight's Royal Rumble trendsetter. I am Jeff Martin, and we are here, HSP Royal Rumble post show, powered by Fast Break Coffee on the Gives a Shot Network. Oh man, yeah, it lived up to it. That men's Royal Rumble. We'll get into that. The women's Royal Rumble 2, and of course the other two matches where we saw Roman Reigns defend and retain, and Logan Paul win by DQ. But let's start out, trendsetter. Do you feel like you were on the edge of your seat? Were you in that suspense? I know we were sitting there watching it, but now that you've maybe taken it in for the last few minutes, what do you think?
What words can I use to describe how I feel right now? You know what, Jeff? I'm not a man to toot my own horn, but to quote someone famous, toot, toot, toot. Cody Rhodes is the 2024 Royal Rumble winner. The only man that I can recall in recent memory in 26 years, thank you, Michael Cole, for that stat, that has won back-to-back Royal Rumbles. I said this to you on the preview show. I said, the only way Cody can get Roman Reigns is that he had to win the Royal Rumble. That was the only shot. If that was it, there's no more finishing the story, nothing like that. And it happened, man. And to be on the edge of your seat, that's an understatement because it could have gone either way. Because, again, if it went the other way with CM Punk, you could understand that from a business standpoint, right? If it had gone through Gunther, because people threw that in the mix too, it would make sense. You would understand it too. And then the SI story, and then people's thinking, you know what, they've probably given up on Cody. And then this is shown, and we saw the post too for the Royal Rumble part of it, shows that Cody Rhodes is going to WrestleMania. Is going to go there one-on-one. I don't know, but you know what? If you're a Cody Rhodes fan, if you're a fan just of storytelling, this is by far probably the best storytelling I've seen in a really, really long time. Edge of your seat, yes. Excitement, yes. When it was all over, I would have to say, too, and I can't believe I'm saying this, Jeff, because it is pro wrestling, sports entertainment. It was emotional. See Cody crying in the middle of the ring. And maybe some people would debate the fact that when he entered in at number 30, coming back from his pectoral injury, maybe it wasn't the momentum they wanted, but he worked to get to this point. They rewarded him. He earned it. And when he finally did the too sweet, fingers up in the air, and pointed to the sign, like I'm pointing to this sign right now, High Spot Podcast, that was as real as you'll ever see it. So congratulations to Cody Rhodes.
Congratulations to Cody Rhodes. He goes on to WrestleMania. And I think one thing that we should note out of the whole last few weeks and the last month is that he's always been the guy. You've put new people coming in. You've put major stars, part-timers, guys that you think could get in Cody's way. But at the end of the day, and like he said, so in the presser, which we are actually watching now, he's the guy. And when you take a look at tonight and you take a look at how everything, and again, it's going to sound just so cliche again with the story, but you know, as the months pass by, as the Raws pass by, and as we head into the WrestleMania, perhaps they knew what they were doing and having Cody have to work up to this. They just could have rewarded him at 39, which would have been a popular thing to do. But then in hindsight, then what? And now you see this build, and you know, you can talk about The Rock, which we won't talk that much of today, but you can mention that name. It's still lurking there.
Yeah.
He's the man. I mean, he is the guy. If they could have wanted a John Cena to fall from the sky, or when you call John Cena a once in a generation kind of guy, because he not only has that charisma in the ring, but he does all that other stuff. Then comes a guy like Cody Rhodes, who is so polished, who is just, you know, he's not Dusty's kid anymore. He's Cody Rhodes. And I think that's what he proved today. And it's just, man, it's just well-deserved, man. It just shows you hard work pays off. and don't doubt yourself. And everyone did. Everyone around him, and then Cody was right to call it the press. He's
Mhm.
willing to do so, and with every right, did a little 2-3 minute talk about that, and then moved on because he's got bigger things to do now and trying to finish his story at WrestleMania. And it was obviously at the end there who he has to finish the story against. And he looked at Roman Reigns' direction and the hairs on my forearm. And again, it's wrestling, right? So we know it's, but there are a few times when that's ever happened. And that's when it happened there. I started thinking, wow, he's going to get one more chance against an icon right now in Roman Reigns. And that is going to be a can't miss WrestleMania for sure. The Royal Rumble match itself, trendsetter. First thing I thought was, man, this is since 1992, and that was probably in our lifetime one of the most star-studded WrestleManias ever. There was no time off. There was no break here. It was just superstar after superstar in the men's division. Holy cow! Sometimes you had to just look and be like, my goodness, where's the break, right? Because you think, oh, somewhere there's going to be a break, like you were talking about. There was no breaks here, and there was superstar after superstar, and then it's kind of an embarrassment of riches. So, in your mind, was that one of the most star-studded Royal Rumbles you've ever seen?
Yeah, I mean, the debate could go from, I'm sure, a lot of people in terms of you comparing it to the 1992 one and, nostalgia hittiness when we think about that Royal Rumble to this one, too. Yes, I would agree with you when you say start set it, but for me, the main thing I focus on is that I like to compare it to, when you develop an organization and like sports, for example. It's easy to buy stars. It's easy to bring people in, people from the past for notoriety or nostalgia, for example, and try to get star power to have eyes focused on it. But when you can have the Royal Rumble being as exciting as it was, the main event, the men's Royal Rumble, and to have each one of those individuals part of the WWE umbrella, they were part of the main roster. Some came from NXT. There's no like wasted slot because you couldn't, and that just gives a huge credit goes to the whole team that is being run in WWE, headed by Triple H and Shawn Michaels. That you have that type of talent and that type of roster, and we still haven't seen a good majority of it because again, it hasn't been exposed to the main audience yet. But you have a roster now that has depth behind it. And that just bodes well for business, honestly, because yes, you have the CM Punks, you have the Codys, and you have a star in the making. He's already a star, Gunther, and you just these other people like Carmelo Hayes and just individuals. Braun Breaker coming up from the NXT
Oh,
roster to debut at the Royal Rumble for the first time and making a huge impact too. It just bodes well for the longevity and the future of that roster in the company. So yes, I mean there was no wasted slot, no celebrity. You didn't have Bad Bunny come out there. You didn't have a weird celebrity. I mean Pat
oh,
McAfee, the calm one, and maybe that was the exception to the rule. But you know what? Pat McAfee has proven himself in the ring, and that was just a wasted one, just for a laugh and a gag.
oh, you know what it was?
I'll let it go.
I probably that was probably Brock's spot.
Probably.
That was probably Brock's spot. And they're like, Pat, listen, you don't have to do anything, but listen, we got a spot fill up. Why don't we just do this? I bet you that was Brock's spot. When you
Hmm.
go back and look at that, that was probably where Brock was going to come in because he was definitely going to be there. Now I can confirm, and no doubt he was definitely going to be a participant in the Rumble. All right, so trendsetter. Besides star-studdedness, and I just want to shout out to all the Latino men that were in there too, man. That's also something else. Now they have um, superstars in the Latin category, which before it was where they couldn't make a Latin star, a Mexican star, Puerto Rican star, and now they have Dominic Mysterio, they have Santos Escobar, Carlito, a veteran, and they have the return of Andrade El Idolo. And we had the returns, man. And again, once Andrade came in, I was like, oh my God, Andrade. I totally forgot, right?
Yeah.
So kudos to them, and hopefully, with the influx of Latin superstars coming in, hopefully they get their opportunity. But obviously, they were very well showcased tonight in the Royal Rumble. But I mean, so many great performances. Again, we talked about Braun Breaker, who had a stand-up performance. He stuck out. Gunther again, just like he's just a workhorse. Carmelo Hayes, I think, was really good too. But also in there too, Jey Uso lasting that long. I mean, showing that what they think of him too. So that was a really good sign for Jey Uso to last that long, to be kind of that marathon guy. Um, to you, who are the standouts for you in this Rumble match? Before we focus on Cody and CM Punk.
I think it goes to Jey Uso.
Right.
Jey, a huge standout in terms of being asked to go number one, and that's something that I think nowadays it's more of a slot that a lot of people could look at and be like, "Oh man, you're number one. I'm not going to win this," or whatever the case might be. But it's an entrusted slot, I feel, because it's not a now you're number one and within 5 or 10 minutes you're going to be eliminated. It's more like we're trusting you to carry the Royal Rumble match to a certain degree because you're going to be in there for a long time. You're not going to win it. You may not make the final four. Sometimes they do. So I think that's a huge testament to Jey Uso in terms of what he's accomplished in terms of what he's done in the bloodline. Now leaving and kind of venturing out on his own, being a single star main event Jey Uso, right? I think if I have to look at somebody else too in the Royal Rumble that kind of stood out, I mean, Braun Breaker, had a huge impact in it. I think Gunther again solidified himself as the fact that it's 2 years in a row now. He was in the final. He was eliminated third, obviously, but in the final four, second year in a row. That's a pretty big accomplishment there in terms of what they think of him. So yeah, I mean, I think Jade just sticks out the most, and then Gunther, obviously, what he was able to accomplish when he was in the ring. Everyone else did a great job, fantastic job. Would have liked Finn Balor to be in there a bit longer. He wasn't. I think the Judgment Day has done a great job in terms of from comedic relief with Ron Killings, with R-Truth, and Dominic. Dominic was in there for a little bit too. He was in there for a while.
Don't
So
underestimate on Dominic, man. He's going to be. I mean, he is already, but he's only so young. So in the future, he's going to be again. He's already a stud, but now he's going to be like one of those guys that they're going to rely on heavily to be that real heat factor guy. One thing too, guys, and I want to also just state out there, guys, that we're live on YouTube. We're going live. We're live, pal. So we're going to be live here on YouTube,
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, we're live, man.
IG, on the Give Us a Shot Network platform. So definitely check us out there. You can check us out, like you said, on X. You can check us out on IG, on YouTube, and on Facebook. So, guys, we are the Jersey Wrecking Crew, and we're covering pro wrestling for you guys. So we're
Jeff,
covering.
real quick, who stood up for you in the Royal Rumble match?
Yeah, well, again, you said the guys, and we brought them up, but I'm going to say also another guy that I mean stood out too was Drew, because he's a hard hitter. But my question that I come is, what is next for Drew?
Mm.
What else can he do? He is just, doors are closing on him faster than his contract, than within the time he has left on his contract. Which raises the question what his future is going to be. We talked about the guys, right? I mean, there are a lot of standouts. Kudos to Jay and Gunther and all those guys, tremendous. And the storytelling as we got towards Punk and Cody, and I'm going to give you your due because you're the one that spotted these. So I'll just mention them and you elaborate because you did them so well that I got to give you your kudos. You mentioned about Punk feeling that urgency and looking at the sign all the time. That was very peculiar of him doing that because he's a veteran and he shouldn't, that I guess maybe the moment was getting to him, right? And then also too, you mentioned Cody didn't look. So just elaborate on that because you're going to do so much more of a better job than I am. But those are the two things you pointed out to me, and that I really had to think about. I was like, huh, you know what? You're right, man. That was a totally good catch.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, before I say anything about that, if there's one gripe I would have to have about the Royal Rumble was, and it's fair to say this, the production crew, I felt did a terrible job, a absolute horrendous job at camera angles and positioning and timing because there's so much from the women's Royal Rumble match to the
this was a problem.
Universal Championship match, the U.S. title match, and to the men's Royal Rumble. There's so many scenarios that you and I are used to. I'm sure a lot of people watching this will say too. They're used to certain moments or certain spots or certain move sets, whatever. They're going to be focused on more because you have somebody in the production truck dictating. Make sure camera this is there and that. It was probably one of the worst ever spots in terms of cameras missing things that they were supposed to hit and we're just so used to it watching it, it just becomes second nature to us as audience members that we notice this is happening. But back to Cody and CM Punk, I noticed that the main focal point when Punk was in there is that, especially when it started going down to the final four, then the final three, and the final two, is that he was constantly looking back and staring at that sign rather than finishing his opponent, whether it was Drew or Gunther, and this time obviously in there Cody. He kept staring at it.
Yeah.
So it became more of a scenario where he had spoken previous to this before the event started that, probably 10 years to the day in which he walked down the company and the mindset he was in, and now he's in a different place. But the urgency to feel that, he wanted to main event WrestleMania, and this was his way of vindicating and making up for walking out on the company, walking out on all his fans and supporters. So staring at it so many times repeatedly. Maybe I picked up on it, maybe some other people picked on it. But then noticing Cody never looked at it one bit, even the moments where he was staring at the crowd and looking around, firing up. You think at the point when he fires up and ready to go, he's going to stare and point at that sign. He never did. And I told you, being hockey fans, it's like the Stanley Cup. You don't touch it until you actually win it and earn it. And Cody had that kind of body mechanics or body movement that I'm not going to do that until I get the job done. And to me, one of the best moments, which I think again the production team missed, was the moment where CM Punk screamed out loud and the mics picked it up that he didn't wait 10 years to come back to lose to Cody's kid. Was going to go do the GTS to go to sleep, and then all of a sudden Cody grabs the leg and utters something, but the camera was aiming at the back of his head. You never saw the actual thing that he said, and then threw Punk over the top rope. That would have been an amazing moment for Cody, to say, "I'm not Dusty's kid anymore," and throw it over the top rope. So a lot of theatrical stuff there too, but just something I noticed in the heat of the moment, watching it on TV. Obviously, big difference watching it on Peacock than being in the arena in terms of where you're sitting. But it was prominent, and I was like, man, this feels like it's going in a certain direction now, because if you were confident in winning, you wouldn't be doing that, and which would led to the ultimate result and an amazing win and amazing emotional, because then finally he earned it, was able to point at the sign. So yeah, those are just things I picked up in terms of that, man. Just a great ability of, there's a scenario where you can tell a story in the ring physically by a move set, but then, as the old school people say that Jeff and I admire, you just wait. You take your time. You let your face tell the story, and you have two veterans like CM Punk and Cody did an amazing job.
Not looking. What do you think that was?
Cody not looking,
Yeah.
not jinxing it,
Not jinxing it.
not thinking ahead, not feeling as if he's somebody who, he even said in the press, he earned his right. He's the guy, but he thinks he's the guy because he knows he earned it. He earned that opportunity from everything he's done since the moment he came back to the WWE. He was an award. People could think maybe he was awarded this and due to Dusty, but the second go around, he earned it. It wasn't more of a sentimental thing. Oh, he's Dusty's kid, and Dusty had passed away, and so we want people to get behind him because this had nothing to do with Dusty Rhodes anymore. This had everything to do with Cody, his name, his legacy, his story, as they say. This is all him. It's all about him. And he said in the presser too, he's like, I don't want to think about my dad. It's all about his wife, his child, and his mom. And that's how how I want to look at Cody Rhodes. He's Cody. He's no longer Dusty's kid to me anymore.
It's growing up, man. He's growing up, and I think for all the people, again, that were in support of Cody actually perhaps waiting this long to finish the story, whether they'd be behind him. Those fans were behind him today in Tampa, and we're talking about CM Punk, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about CM Punk, who tonight you had to root against him winning and finishing his story. You're trying to finish his story because he's got a story as well to tell.
Yeah.
And you decided, and the fans mostly decided to pick Cody's. They want to see that one more. And that shows you that even now, almost a year later, they're behind him 100%. I mean, they love this guy, from the songs to the everything that he does. He's captured Lightning Bottle, because not a lot of faces do this, man. A lot of people get that act like, oh, they can't wait to root against you. I don't know, maybe because it just comes natural. He's organic, and they know there's nothing phony about Cody.
I think that's what it is. It's organic.
Because
he even said it himself, he can't separate himself, turned it off. What you see is what you get from him.
I think that's because he's genuine, and I think that's why fans don't get tired of the act. I know
Not
there's
an act. That's the thing.
I know that's it because it's not an act, and I think those people that who kind of hate on Cody is because they think it is, but I think he's a genuine guy. I mean, from the short interactions that we've had with Cody,
Yeah.
he just seems like a genuine cool dude, and I think
Listen,
that
yeah, and sorry to interrupt you there, but from the short interactions we've had, and I agree here with Michael C. Powers. Thanks so much for listening, buddy. Yes, Cody killed it at the post-show interview, without a doubt. Thank you for watching the live stream, buddy. Um, but we've seen Cody from our experiences with him,
no,
nothing but gracious, kind with his time, never rushing us. But I think why I think people are connecting to Cody so much, and obviously you're going to have haters and people that don't think Cody belongs in the position he's in. Okay, you're free to have your opinion, but what's also really cool though, Jeff, we've seen him grow up. We've seen him at 20 when he debuted. We've seen the man he's become. So people who are followers, and even Cody said himself during the post, it's not easy being a Cody Rhodes fan. See all the stages he's gone through, and you're thinking, it's never going to happen for him. And to see it happen gets emotional for me because I've seen what he's gone through. I've seen the person he is outside when he was part of AEW, and to see the good person heart he is, to see that he's gotten this, I feel like I'm winning it with him.
so true. Especially if you followed him and you've seen how he's bet on himself, and that was a huge part of his story, the betting on yourself, because you could sit back and just take a paycheck, but he decided to change the world, and he changed the world, the professional wrestling, for the good. And everyone is striving, and it's the business, whether it's WWE, AEW. Let's just talk about not attendance, whatever. But let's just talk about everything else. It's thriving. Look at TNA; it's thriving, right? So the more the guys can hone their craft, the better. So congratulations to Cody Rhodes. He moves on to WrestleMania. He most likely will take on Roman Reigns. CM Punk, obviously, uh, if just real quick, his future, I would say, is Perth, Australia. I would say that he will get an opportunity again to vie for Seth's title, and that'll be in the Elimination Chamber. I'm pretty sure that's where the direction they're going to. Pretty much agree on that, Trendsetter?
I would definitely agree on that. We had the whole monkey wrench of Gunther trying to throw a monkey wrench into all of that. That might present itself on Raw leading up to WrestleMania, but I think right now we know where we're going with the WWE Universal Championship.
Guys, join the comment. You get on here. We're gonna again. It's late night, so we glad for you guys to join us. Again, you can watch us live. So definitely thank you for joining us this late. Won't take up too much of your time, guys. So as we talk about the Logan Paul Kevin Owens match, obviously in just the hindsight here, maybe didn't get the chance to see a lot of Logan Paul here as far as like what makes him so great, and maybe thought this could steal the show. But the DQ win for Logan maybe kind of sets another matchup for these guys, maybe in Perth. But again, I thought maybe a little underperformed here, and hopefully just does a better. It just looks better in the rematch.
Listen, I think the match was good in terms of did it steal the show? No, it didn't. But again, I think Logan and Kevin worked really well together. It presented the fact of the heelish quality of Logan Paul now, where he has people coming, his friends from the audience, from social media, crossing it, and then you have Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, part of his crew, to a certain degree, helping him out, trying to make Kevin Owens' life living hell. It's the classic scenario where Kevin's chasing him, and he has all these odds stacked against him. Almost won into the referee. Geez, referees are so blind and see the brass knuckles, and I'm ringing the bell. So it's kind of, you kind of chuckle and laugh about that, but at the same time, you know where it's going. We never thought, or at least I never thought it was going to be a one-off. So who knows if this leads to WrestleMania or Elimination Chamber. But at the same time, too, it doesn't hurt Kevin. It just again solidifies Logan in terms of him being that heel champion, and I think the right man won, regardless of his disqualification or not. Logan Paul retains, and it will not be the last time we see these two in the ring.
We were right also too on the fatal four way for the undisputed Universal Championship, heavyweight championship. Roman Reigns retains. I think what I've learned from this is that Roman Reigns is not going to win clean a lot, and I think this is going to help us when we get to Mania, when Roman Reigns throws everything, and even the kitchen sink, and maybe who knows, maybe whatever's laying around in Philly at Cody Rhodes, it's just going to make us appreciate more him overcoming Roman Reigns.
Mhm.
Today was the first time where I believe that the act got tired because we've seen Solo so much help
Yeah.
Reigns. I totally understand. I still love the Tribal Chief. He's still an amazing guy. He has his own Mount Rushmore. I get it. I still throw up the ones. I get it. There's nothing that Roman Reigns can do to make me not want to see him. But I think the act is getting a little old where he's getting the help all the time. Now, maybe it's what they want us to do. So by the time we get to Mania, we're relieved that that's done and over with and that Cody overcomes it. I get what they're doing. But just today was the first time I felt that the act got old, that it was Solo. Or I just think that I just think for some reason I feel that the whole bloodline thing. I don't care. It just meant to me like it was like okay, it's kind of losing its luster. They need to add some infusion or something because it just to me something was missing. I don't know what you thought. I mean, it was just a lot of stuff there. But I first thought that a lot of stuff was missing in the bloodline, and it was the first time I got tired of the act.
Well, that's a fair statement to make because we've seen this time and time again. No matter how many times the odds might be stacked against Roman Reigns, he will come out victorious through hook or crook, and usually it's crook at times, right? So
Yeah.
in this scenario, it's been a while since we've seen him defend the title, and so in this case, listen, you and I both knew, and I'm sure a lot of people watching, members of the crew, knew that Roman wasn't going to lose this one. But it gave the illusion that he didn't have to get pinned, and it gave you that shred of even if it was a 0.1% doubt it was going to happen, it could possibly happen too, right? So in terms of the I can't stale, I think it's more of just little by little, as much as Roman Reigns has been a dominant champion for so many now days, as Michael Cole announced it, it shows that now his grip on it feels, at least for me, if I was going to interpret it, it feels like his grip on that universal title is getting looser and looser. It's getting harder and harder for him to hold on to it. Granted, being a champion for this long is difficult. So when you get to that point, it's just showcasing now maybe some vulnerabilities from the tribal chief that we're not seeing anymore. So what happens when the bloodline's not there? Can he win it on his own? So it's going to start creating those doubts. I'm sure will be used as the weeks lead up to WrestleMania and the months lead up to WrestleMania. So yeah, it is kind of getting stale, but we wouldn't expect anything less because that's what needs to happen in order for all these insurmountable odds to be there for someone, whether that be Cody. I don't know if that's Cody or not. We'll find out at WrestleMania because that's the main event is going to be we're most likely going to see, right? He pointed at Roman Reigns, but yet nobody has been able to overcome that. So, when you face Roman Reigns, you not only face Roman Reigns, you face the bloodline and everybody else involved. So that's what it's for. Yeah, Jeff, you think you might have muted yourself there for a second.
Apologize. We have trains wandering or running around here. So again, what I was going to say is that it looks at some point we're going to get Solo and Randy at one point. So we want to give you the best audio quality. So guys, apologize there. But
Exactly.
so it looks like we're going to get that, and we're going to get maybe AJ Styles and LA Knight. So that's that for this. But also be on the lookout for a possible injury for Randy Orton on the shoulder. It could have been just selling. You never know, but just want to be on the lookout for that. But Roman Reigns retains the championship. There's no surprise there. It was a good match, but again, just that interference is getting a little old with the Bloodline and Solo Sikoa, but we'll see what happens there. And then lastly, wrapping up this, and kudos, you got this one right. And congratulations to Bayley, the 2024 winner of the Women's Royal Rumble. I'll just take what Bayley said in her press conference because, and kudos to the press conferences, bro. They just came out with the winners and then Triple H, and then they jetted. They didn't have everyone come out from every single match. So kudos to them and getting the press out of there by before 1 a.m. And so Bayley, listen, kudos to her, man. She's getting her recognition. And as much as a heel as she wants to be, she said it in her presser. She's being herself, and you're the ones that choose to cheer for her. You're the ones that are choosing to, to give her credit where it's due now. And she put on a performance. And I'll say this about the women's matchup. One thing that I noticed, and kudos, I love that the women get the Royal Rumble, but they need to. What showed me that was missing was they have depth, they have a lot, but for 30 women, I think it could get a little tedious. I don't know if they would ever want to change it to 20 women battle royal, but it just seems there's like a lot of names that they don't that the audience doesn't see from time to time, and I think that they need to have more character development for us to care. So when you have people that come in that the crowd sits on their hands, like, oh, and then there's like this lull in between. So in the middle there was a little bit of lull, but towards the end it got stacked, and I think that one thing that you did notice is, good Lord, Jade Cargill is a freaking star. And they made her look like a star. And I think even in the fact where she was eliminated, she still comes off good. But what a heck of a performance. What a heck of a build-up. And boy, did the crowd go nuts. You know, they say that the first thing they fear of when you go out there is if they remember me or if they know me. Well, they freaking did know her, because she just pops off that screen. And wow, when her and Bianca, when her and Becky were face to face, the crowd just popped and they want to see it. And when she did that with Nia Jax, that was just tremendous, man. They really did a good job with Jade. Liv Morgan comes in as well. She comes back. We saw the return of her. And again, I think the production too also to me kind of hindered that matchup. But all in all, though, a very good Royal Rumble premium live event. And congratulations to Bailey, trendsetter. Obviously, who was, to me, besides Bailey, who else stood out to you?
Oh wow! First of all, let's give a huge shout out to Chelsea Green. We've had her on the show before.
Oh my
Chelsea
goodness.
Green, if you want some comedic relief, but also just some entertainment, Chelsea provided it. It was just there's so many things she was doing. They're just making me crack up. She was cracking up. Also, the commentating team as well. They were cracking up during the match too, doing a lot of jokes during the women's Royal Rumble match. But man, you have to give her kudos, dude. It's great she stood there longer than 5 seconds. I think she deserved to be in there longer, but again, Chelsea Green just to me just stole the show in mere entertainment for me, Chelsea. In terms of women, I mean Jade obviously. How could you not say Jordan Grace, the TNA Knockouts Women
Oh,
Champion,
yeah.
showcased the fact that I'm pretty sure, and I wish we had stayed in contact with Jordan a little bit more. I know she's doing great things over in TNA, but I'm sure pretty much the first thing I want to ask her is how many people back there when you went back in the curtain said to you, "Hey, I really would like to work with you in the future." And she even posted too on social media too. She's like, "Thank you so much, WWE Universe. It will not be the last time you see me."
All right.
So take
And
it for what it's worth. I know she's the TNA Women's Knockout Champion, but standing her own, being in there with Natalia, being in there with Becky Lynch, being in there with Jade too.
yeah,
It's very proud of her. We've seen her from where she started to where she is currently now, and granted, her future is still very bright. And man, it just showcased itself in a bigger stage and a bigger platform. And also cool. What's so cool about that too, Jeff, real quick, is the fact that it's opening the door. Last time we had Mickey James, former TNA Knockouts champion, at the Royal Rumble. Now Jordan Grace. It's like it's great for TNA because you're getting a lot out. Your champion stood in there for a long time against the top contenders in WWE,
yeah.
and it's great promotion for TNA. That'd be a nice partnership right there.
She was there for a long time and she did not get dominated, and she got eliminated in a in a fashion where, like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, okay, that's a good way. She didn't. I guess what I'm trying to say is that they didn't show her in any way in a weak way,
Not
and
at
I
all.
and I think that, man, she stood in there toe to toe. TNA should be proud. See, that's a collaboration where it works. That's a collaboration where both sides get what they want. And I think that, and again, this Triple H opening the doors, and that forbidden door this time was opened by Jordan Grace, and she's built her stock so. I mean, there is no negative you can say about her. She carried herself as a star when she came in, maybe a little bit jitters walking in that aisle, but man, she belonged. As soon as she walked through those ropes, she belonged. She fit. Nothing. The moment wasn't too big for her. Just everything, man. Like
She looked like she belonged.
that she
That's
belongs.
the thing.
She looked larger than life
Yeah.
because she's just focused on her body so much, and she's gotten muscle. Uh, Everyone should be proud. Scott D'Amore, everybody. Well, great representative to represent your brand. in WWE, and it's opened a lot of eyes. All I can say is that she'll be the talk this weekend and heading into Monday. She'll definitely be the talk, and her stock has only risen for WWE. And she's obviously going to be in the radar down the road. But for right now, TNA, kudos to you. That's what a partnership should look like, and both sides win, right?
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe down the road, and maybe next year's Royal Rumble, you won't have only a TNA Knockouts champion, but you'll have a TNA Heavyweight champion in the Royal Rumble. I mean, hey, it's working so far. It's been a really good test, and I think the second go around's been one of the most successful tests I've seen before. Because again, you talk about that forbidden door, Jeff. Right? Sometimes it doesn't work because one side wants more than the other, and sometimes you have to adhere to what the other side said because they have the A side and you're the B side, whichever one you prefer. And this works. It works both ways because now it's going to bring eyes to people who watch the Royal Rumble. God knows how many people watched it on stream on Peacock. And now going to be like, look at Jordan Grace. Wow.
I
Let's check out TNA now because I want to see what Jordan Grace does in TNA. And it's great on both sides.
If TNA can probably get all this on the most watched Royal Rumble probably of all time when the numbers come in, because obviously the NFL streaming the week before or the regular season, no, for the playoff game with the Chiefs and Dolphins, that that led to all these eyes buying, subscribing to Peacock. So this is they're going to have their largest viewing audience, and TNA was smart, and they're like, we're rebranding, we're rebranding TNA, and this is a great way to catch an eye on our superstar. Tremendous job through and through. So congratulations to Bayley. So we got the winners of the Royal Rumble, Bayley, and then Cody Rhodes making history for the only, 4 guys have only won the Royal Rumble twice. Hogan,
Shawn Michaels,
Michaels,
Stone
Cody
Cold
Rhodes,
Steve Austin.
Steve Austin. My God, what company that's in. So
That's a pretty nice list to be part of, man.
and we will find out who Bailey will select. She said she's chosen Rhea Ripley. I'm pretty sure that's going to change down the road. That's not going to be set in stone. Yeah. So kudos to that. And then the only final thing to put a ribbon on this HSP Royal Rumble post show. Obviously, we will fill you with lots of wrestling content as now we're on the road to WrestleMania. So follow us on all our social media at High Spot Podcast. Catch us here on the Give Us a Shot Network, powered by Fast Break Coffee. Make sure you download and subscribe our episodes. Lastly, the press conference. We already talked about Cody and Bayley and then Triple H. So as we were talking, Triple H came on. But the only thing he'll say about the whole Vince McMahon matter is that he'd like to focus on the positives, which, you know what? I don't blame him, and I'm sure there will be a time to talk about this. And kudos to Nick Hausman for asking the question to Cody.
Yes.
So he did. So obviously there was no runaround. So good, good for him in general. But that's all you can expect from Triple H to say, right? I mean, that's all.
Of course. I mean, here's the thing. What I appreciate from WWE is the mere fact that they'll allow you to say that stuff. They'll allow you to ask that question. It's a fair question to ask. I mean, if you didn't, then you'd just be honestly, what's the point? It is a dark cloud over the WWE in a time where it's supposed to be so exciting because we're on the road to WrestleMania. So, of course, that's the response you expect from Triple H. I think Cody gave a really good answer as well in terms of how he responded to the question, too. Like, how do you move past that? How do you move forward? How do you make sure something like this never happens again? Stuff like that. But ultimately, those things and the things that are leading to it, and we're obviously going to find more stuff going on about it as the weeks and months goes by. But right now, it was all about the Royal Rumble. It was all about the road to WrestleMania. So I think every single individual is involved in tonight's card did a great job of making you remember that as much as that stuff is in the world right now that where people are discussing and want to know the answers to. The mere fact, Jeff, like I told you before when we started and we did the pre-show, I couldn't remember the last time I was this excited for a Royal Rumble because I didn't know it was going to happen. You could go in so many different directions for all the matches. I'm happy I'm 4 for 4 because I've never been 4 for 4 on a card at all. I've always had 1 or 2 or I've been completely off. This by far has been one of my favorite Royal Rumbles in a really long time. Yeah. And now, if this is just a caveat, a taste, if you will, of what we have looked forward to for Elimination Chamber and then WrestleMania. Listen, if The Rock's in it or not, and you and I are going to be talking about the weeks to come of The Rock and who might be involved and storylines for the world title, the W Universal Women's Tag Team titles, Women's World title, all this stuff, right? But for tonight, I felt like a fan. And it was so cool to watch it, to talk about it with you, to talk about it with the members of the crew who have been on here talking to us on Facebook and on Instagram and watching us on YouTube for Give Us a Shot Network. And we thank them for giving us the platform to do this for you guys.
Guys, while we're talking, if you have any questions, feel free to put it out there for the short time that we have left. And like you said, man, made us feel like a fan.
Yeah.
And again, make sure you follow us on all our social media at High Spot Podcast. And in closing this, right, we'll obviously talk about this down the road with the whole Vince McMahon thing. But let's just put it out there because we'll be the first ones to report this because obviously it's all been Royal Rumble heavy. But as far as the situation with Brock is concerned, right? So we kind of maybe put two together that Pat McAfee spot was Brock's spot.
Yeah.
We'll probably find out later on. But from what we know, Brock will not be at the Elimination Chamber and Brock will not be at WrestleMania. So, if the paywalls of the world report that and you want to pay $5 for it, we're giving you a little bit of knowledge here before you guys go and put your hard-earned money here. We're rewarding you for coming on live with us. So from what it looks like, most likely, 100%, Brock will be off those shows, which he was supposed to be a part of.
Most likely. Maybe.
Or it could happen, but you never know. Things
Yeah.
No, 100%. There will be no Brock. There will be no Brock at Perth in the Elimination Chamber. There will be no Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. All right, Trendsetter. Thank you guys for joining us here on the HSP Royal Rumble post show on the Give Us a Shot Network. I want to thank the Trendsetter for all his hard work. Man, honestly, couldn't do this without you. And now he will close the show as he does most in all the shows, most likely from now on going forward. Close it out, man. We are on the road to WrestleMania. I want to thank you guys for joining us. Trendsetter closes out.
So, guys, as you know, we thank you for watching this live stream, this HSP Royal Rumble post show. We thank you all for joining us. We are the Jersey Wrecking Crew for my tag team partner, the scoundrel Jeff Martin. I am the Trendsetter Brian Berger. Thanking you guys again to look forward to what we have in store for you as in the upcoming months leading to WrestleMania. It's finally safe to say, Jeff, that I'm so happy to finally be able to say this to you and to you guys, the members of the crew, that the road to WrestleMania has begun, folks. The sign is there. It is real. We are 69, because we're in the Sunday.
Lucky number.
69. It's Jeff's favorite number. 69 days away from WrestleMania, guys. And we are counting down with you here on the High Spot Podcast, guys. Thank you. Give us a shot. We appreciate it. And remember, we do this for one reason and one reason only, especially in the wee hours of the morning. We do this for you, the
crew.
crew.
Trendsetter needs a nap. Dirty, mind you. Dirty.